Check, check.
Okay, I never know how to hide anything like that. I know I don't have a booming voice.
We're down to money now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I try to sure.
Just
You want me to come up there? Or?
You don't have to talk into it, just so it's pointed at you. You'll be good then. And even then, if you just casually just put stand up there, Bill, and just size it. That's perfect. Just have it the same way right in your mouth. And then it does all the work then. So you don't need to be like.
I'll be Charles Hester on my next slide.
I didn't know if you were in this morning.
I know that guy. He did. He had an amazing voice.
No, it's Bernadette and Elizabeth.
What are we forgetting, Bill? Do you have everything you need? Got the clicker? Okay. You said your PowerPoint is ready to go back there. Take that. And he's not afraid to ask, and he's not afraid to call back if he's still not clear. You know, he's going to be, he's pretty good to deal with. Yeah, he's been doing that for a long time. So,
In case you see something.
appreciate it, Bill. Thank you. Thanks for letting us know.
Generic law.
Anytime,
We're on.
Mayor. Anytime.
Okay, everybody all set? Lois, all set? Okay. Here we go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of June 17, 2009 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m. and also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. As you know, this building is protected by a state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system, so should alarms activate, please leave using the exit, and once outside, assemble on the Las Vegas Boulevard side of the property, and employees wearing safety vests or our city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. We make this announcement at every meeting. It's just in an abundance of caution, have no reason to ever expect that would take place. Item number 3 is approval of the final minutes by reference of the special joint City Council and Redevelopment Agency meeting of May 19th, 2009, and the regular Redevelopment Agency meetings of May 6th, 2009, and May 20th, 2009.
Yes, Your Honor. No additions or deletions. I'll make a motion for approval of the minutes, please.
All right, let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And the record should reflect that Councilman Barlow is excused. Item number 4 is RA 10-2009, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency and DFA LLC, the owner, located at 1415 West Bonanza Road, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan and authorizing the execution of the CVIP agreement by the RDA. This is in Ward 5, and this item is related to Council Item 106, which is R55-2009. Mr. Arndt?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This item is a visual improvement program application from DFA LLC. It is a company owned by Ahern, which is the equipment manufacturer and operator in Las Vegas, and the property is located on West Bonanza Road, 1415 West Bonanza, and the owner would like to do a lot of additional improvements to the facility. What you see before you on the overhead right now is a photograph of the facility at the corner, Bonanza Martin Luther King. I think it's shot during a sunny day, so it doesn't come out too good on the overhead. But that shows essentially the before shot, before the improvements. DFA purchased the property roughly a year ago, and they're operating the facility, assembling and selling a variety of construction equipment. And since they've opened the facility, they've employed as many as 75 people at the facility. They own another number of other properties in the area, and they're looking to do they've already invested $1 million in improvements at the property. They're looking to do new improvements, which include signage, landscaping, perimeter fencing, and gates, as well as parking lot upgrades and some building paint. And I'm going to switch over to the after shot of the facade after the improvements.
Yeah, it sure needs it.
That's the photo of the intended appearance of the facility after the improvements. The estimated improvements cost approximately $100,000. As you know, our visual improvement program requires a one-to-one match from the owner, and the owners could be participating by putting in $50,000 to be eligible for the full grant of $50,000. The agency will be recording a facade and maintenance agreement against the property, and we have the owner here who wishes to maybe say a few words about the project.
Mr. Ahern.
Yes, good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Don Ahern. I reside at 1815 West Bonanza there. And this was the old Sears building for those that have been around. Probably most of us been around a few years, have probably been in and out of this building when we were younger, buying lawnmower parts and what have you. But anyhow, it's sat somewhat dormant for a number of years recently, and we attempted to try to acquire this property, which took us a few years to get it done, and we did it. And since then, we've been putting some money into it. And at this point in time, as you know, the construction world is kind of crushed down on us, and we're not really running at a pace like we used to, but we're still running, and we're proud of that. So we'd like to dress it up in the front, and we'd like to use this program to do that, and we're certainly willing to make the match, and if it's approved here today, we'd be sincerely very grateful.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your plans for that particular part of our community are very ambitious, and I just hope that the economy will get itself in a spot now where you'll be able to take advantage of the towers that you propose. When do you think you might start that project?
The towers are going to be out for a year or so. The financing is not available to us in any fashion right now. So, Mayor, my honest answer is I just honestly can't tell you.
Okay.
Until the credit market kind of moves back, we're pretty much dead on it. Although we have kept the architects and the engineering, all those people are still employed, and they are moving forward with the construction documents. Long term, just so you know, our intent was to not invest so many dollars in this building that we'd never want to tear it down. Our goal might be in the 5-10 year thing would be to build another tower to match the tower across the street.
At this location?
At this location, too.
All right, very good. Well, this is certainly going to be of great benefit and improve that particular intersection, that's for sure, because right now it's very, very run down.
It's cleaning up every day a little bit more.
Very good, thank you. Are there any questions of Mr. Ahern? Yes, Councilor Rose.
Just a comment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Mr. Ahern, I know that building well. Been in there many times. In fact, I worked there when I was 16 years old at the Sears Call Center. But you've done a phenomenal job, and I echo what the mayor says. I know that area very well, and I would like to think that your business neighbors would get the hint and follow suit and do what you're doing, because you've done a phenomenal job on Bonanza Road with all of the businesses that you have there. Now, Your Honor, if I can, Mr. Ahern, your manufacturing equipment there, is that it? Can you tell us what that business is?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of functions going on in there, but the primary function, the main function, is we have an engineering department in there, and we have an accounting department and a sales department, along with a assembly line. It just looks like the old Henry Ford thing where we're manufacturing forklifts. These are the reach forklifts. They're orange ones that go up and out and so forth. And we were doing 42 of them a month less than a year ago, and currently we're down to 5 a month right now. These sell for about $100,000 a piece, give or take. So you can see how the business has gone down. In fact, out in the back parking lot, you'll find 30 or 40 of them that are not sold. So, but we're kind of running along that way. And then upstairs, we've remodeled it, and up there we have currently about 30 people working in an order-taking call. I hate to use the word call center. I think you used that, but it's a place for our customers to call in, and you'll see the parking lot's quite busy. And we've actually moved a lot of jobs that we used to have over on Arville that was in the county over to the city here.
Well, and Your Honor, I ask him that because it's interesting. This industry, we now have a semi-manufacturing industry in the heart of the city of Las Vegas, and I think that's significant.
There's no question about it. I've had the privilege of going through his properties, and basically it's like a little successful Detroit.
Thank you.
When I went through them, I was amazed that the manufacturing was actually taking place here, and the products were being built here, and the employees were skilled laborers who were able to put these things together. It was awesome, and then, of course, we have hit this economic downturn, and I'm glad you're sticking in there.
Well, we're shipping them not so much around town here now. Every one of them is going out of the city and throughout the United States, and a very small percentage actually goes out of the country. But manufacturing in Las Vegas, for whatever it's worth, this is a fabulous place to manufacture. You know, you don't have to, pay a lot of money to heat up a building like you would in Milwaukee. Where it's supposedly a great mecca for manufacturing.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you addressed that. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Just make a motion.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say that you really have done a tremendous job
Thank
as
you.
a citizen in our community. We're fortunate to have you.
Well, thank you very much,
And you're
Councilman.
right, Bonanza's getting better every day.
Okay.
But I thought that Mr. Ahern was going to reach into his pocket and get this done.
Well, we're gonna reach in and get half of it done.
Okay, all right. Okay, very good. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. Mr. Ahern, we want to thank you. You've done a fantastic job over there. I echo what the other council members and the mayor have said, but I was very lucky to represent this area at one time, and I worked personally with Mr. Ahern, and I know that Don is a man of his word, and he's always met with the neighbors. He's always had the opportunity to talk to them about what they would like to see built, what they wouldn't want to see built. He's always come to compromises with the neighbors. He's been a tremendous asset to the city of Las Vegas, especially along the West Bonanza corridor. And to me, again, it just shows by taking this building and doing what he's doing to it, that his intent is to stay in there the long term. And that's what's important, is that long-term commitment. And I know that Councilman Barlow was just tickled to death to have you here. And with that said, I'm going to make a motion for approval of this item and just tell you thanks again.
Very good. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, thank you. Council,
Right.
thank you very much.
Item number 5 is RA 11, 2009, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution authorizing the issuance of the taxable tax increment subordinate lien note from the Redevelopment Agency to WMCV Phase 3 LLC, the World Market Center, located at 455 South Grand Central Parkway, and providing for all matters related thereto. This is in Ward 5. Mr. Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a tax increment financing note to proceed with the third phase of the World Market Center. The Redevelopment Agency on September 18th of 2002 approved an owner participation agreement through which the agency pledged to rebate 41% of the new taxes generated from the World Market Center project. And that agreement contemplated multiple phases. This is the third phase for the third building, or also known as Building C. And this note will approve the issuance of tax revenues with an annual payment of $1,215,096 and a total face value of the note of $12,321,620. You should note that this is only taxes generated from the project itself, so there's no general tax revenue of the Redevelopment Agency pledged. It's only the revenue that, but for the project and the development by the World Market Center and their development team, this tax revenue would not exist. The TIF note is in order, and staff recommends approval.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor, members of the council. John Lelu, 495 South Grand Central Parkway. I'm the general counsel of the World Market Center in Las Vegas. We thank staff for its favorable recommendation, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions of either gentleman?
Mayor Goodman.
Councilman Wilson.
Bill, if you don't mind, there's a lot of people that watch this redevelopment agency at home on their televisions, and your description, although accurate, is a little sophisticated and somewhat complex. Just break it down into simple terms, what we're doing today.
What we're doing today is we're approving a procedure that we have to do for when a developer completes a project, and our redevelopment agency is participating with rebating a portion of the taxes that we'd otherwise receive. It's an owner participation agreement because the project's privately owned. The city doesn't own the property. The redevelopment agency doesn't own the property. It's privately owned. The project has been developed privately with private investment. And what we're simply doing is we're rebating a portion of the property taxes that we receive. For properties within the redevelopment area, rather than the property tax being distributed the same way throughout the city as in our other tax jurisdictions, for the tax jurisdictions within our redevelopment agency, we actually collect the new tax increment. In other words, the new tax is generated above and beyond what taxes already existed when we added the property into the redevelopment area. And we refer to that as our base, that we have an existing base flow of taxes coming into the city, and then we've set a line at that base, and then any new tax revenues generated after that year come into the agency. This is really an incentive that we offered to try to get additional taxes above and beyond that base, and we believed at the time in 2002 but for this incentive, the developer would not proceed. So we offered partial rebate. It's a net win for the city. We realize 41% of the taxes generated from the project, and it's a very large project, has a very large tax base. So it's a net fiscal positive for the city and for the redevelopment.
And this formula, if you will, is pursuant to the redevelopment agency itself, which is a creation by our legislature, the state of Nevada, many years ago.
That's correct. The formula as far as the taxes that the proportion that is given to the redevelopment agency to reinvest back into this area, that's set by the legislature. And then we negotiated the incentive. Rather than rebating all the taxes, we negotiated a percentage. We essentially keep 18% of the first taxes in for affordable housing per statute as directed by the legislature. And then the remaining 82%, we agreed to rebate up to half, which is how we arrived at the 41%.
And then finally, if you don't mind, Mayor, one of the things you said was that back in 2002 when we did this, we may not have had this private developer come in and develop this great project. I mean, anybody that's not blind can see the World Market Center from miles away. We may not have otherwise had such a great project developed in this area without the ability to offer these incentives. And that's the whole purpose of redevelopment, isn't that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor, I move to follow staff's recommendation to approve this item.
Let's vote on that, please. Post. Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I think you're on the next item, too. Item number 6 is RA 12-2009, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution authorizing the issuance of the taxable tax increment subordinate lien note from the Redevelopment Agency to WMC Roman numeral II Associates, LLC, the World Market Center, located at 213 South Grand Central Parkway, and provide for all matters related thereto. This is in Ward 5. Mr. Arndt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is essentially the same as the last item. It emanates from our original owner participation agreement back in 2002. The distinction is this tax increment financing note is for the parking garage. That parking garage was built to support all three phases, all three buildings that are on the site, but because it's situated on a separate parcel, has a different taxable value, procedurally it was easier to split up and have two separate notes, one for the third building and then one for the parking garage. The amount of the tax increment financing note is $2,663,073, and results in an annual payment of $262,619. Again, this is a note using revenues generated from within the project itself. No general revenues from the redevelopment agency or other funds of the city are going to the project to the developer. This is simply a rebate of taxes generated from the project, but for the investment and the contribution from the developer, the tax revenues would not exist. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. John Lelu, 495 South Grand Central Parkway. I am the general counsel of the World Market Center, Las Vegas. We appreciate staff's favorable recommendation, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Fine. Are there any questions of either gentleman? All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Your Honor. And again, I'll make a motion for approval of this item following staff's recommendation. But Councilman Barlow, I have talked to his staff about these items, and he's wants to thank you too for the work you've done over there. So
Thank you
my
very
motion
much.
for approval of this item, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7 is a report and possible action regarding redevelopment agency projects currently under contract or negotiation, other projects proposed or under construction within or near the redevelopment area, and to provide an overview of programs and initiatives applying towards 1, 3, and 5. Mr. Arndt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item before you is a quarterly PowerPoint for activities and projects of the redevelopment agency. For the listening public, what we do in this item is kind of give a rundown of all the projects that we're actively working on and really try to focus on two things: projects that are going to result in new taxes, which we in turn can reinvest back in the area, or projects that result in new jobs. And so that's been the growing focus, to try to focus on not only the tax revenues and increasing the tax base, which helps the area, but also what's the net result? How many jobs are being created? And so I'm going to kind of run through projects. Before that, I'm going to give a snapshot of what I would consider maybe some of the competitive advantages that the RDA has over the region as a whole as far as attracting new development and new investment. It's really important in these economic times to look at what our strengths are, where are we beating the overall market in the region, and where can we expect new development and new investment to happen. So this first slide shows a snapshot of the vacancy rate for office, both in the region and the valley. The blue, which is if you're looking at the right-hand side of the chart, that shows the first quarter of 2009 and shows a really high vacancy rate for the office as a whole, 20.6. And in contrast, the vacancy rate for the redevelopment agency is only 10% in the first quarter of 2009. So if you see that the chart has varied over time, real estate works on cycles, new product comes online, has to be absorbed, so it's never a smooth line or a straight line. Well, what it does show from quarter one of 2008 to quarter one of 2009 is that we've beaten the overall market in terms of the vacancy. And that tends to indicate that there is an unmet demand for new office in downtown and our redevelopment area. So as a strategic focus, that's one thing that we'll be focusing on in the months to come. This shows the office rent for the valley as well as the region. I don't know how well the gray bars, which are to the left of the blue bars, show on the screen or the slide, but the office rent for the RDA is actually exceeding the office rent for the general market for quarter one of 2009. The office rent for the region was $2.36. That's a blend of all types of office. It's not just the high ends or the Class A. It's all types of office in the market. And contrast that with, for the redevelopment area, $2.46. So that's a good sign in trying to attract new development and new investment, that rents are healthy and are actually exceeding the overall market. Retail is another challenge in the region as well as in the RDA. If you compare this chart with the office, it's actually the inverse. We're actually lagging the market in terms of our vacancy rates, where the region for first quarter was about 8%. We were about 19% for the RDA. Now this has changed quite dramatically in the last quarter as retail has continued to soften. And so what I would expect over time is that probably both of these vacancy rates would tend to trend together and tend to be a weaker segment of the market. One of the other observations is that as part of our downtown Centennial Plan, we've required developers to put new retail on the ground floor of projects, which long-term is a great vision. It's the right strategy for downtown, but there's going to be some time involved in filling up all that retail space. We're also going to be working on some of the commercial corridors, not just in the heart of downtown, but in some of our older neighborhoods, to try to support filling up those vacancies. And that's really a big focus of our business development division and our business attention and expansion program to reach out to those businesses.
Mayor Goodman?
Yeah.
Please. Bill, let's take a couple projects, for example, Streamline and Jewel, where we have retail planned for those two projects, but I don't think there's any retail in any of those projects yet. Jewel, I'm not even sure we've even had our grand opening yet. But my question is this: is there anything the City of Las Vegas can do to aid the developer to make their jobs a little easier in getting these retails in their establishments? I mean, is it just strictly between the landlord and the prospective tenant, or can the city do anything to help the owners of these properties get tenants in there?
I think we can help. Councilman, we started a retail initiative a few years back to try to help retailers locate in the downtown, in the redevelopment area. One of the things that is common not just for our downtown, but downtowns throughout the U.S., is that there's a level of sophistication that we need in marketing space to retailers. General retail, the most important statistic that they look at is rooftops. How many rooftops are in the area? How many neighborhood residents will be shopping at those retail stores. Downtown's a little different. You have a big daytime office population. You have residential densities which maybe don't match up to some suburban master plan communities. And so we really have to market in a different way. So we created a retail initiative to reach out to retailers. We give them site-specific demographic information that they might not get if they use their standardized models as far as looking at rooftops and consumer spending, which tend to understate the actual true spending that happens in a downtown. So we're doing that. We're also continuing to offer our visual improvement program, which is not a lot, but that's cash up front to a tenant. It's worked really well in our entertainment district and also in our other districts in downtown, and so we're going to look to continue to do that, trying to match that up with what is the hurdle to get the retailer in, and then can we offer an incentive. The one final point is a lot of other states, California, Arizona, have ad valorem sales tax, where a municipality can offer sales tax as an incentive. And you see quite an aggressive incentives game really trying to attract retailers into a municipality. Within Nevada, we don't have ad valorem sales tax. The only sales tax incentive we have is our tourism improvement district, which is really more of a niche incentive for entertainment projects, not for general retail. So on the cash incentive side, we don't have a lot of incentives, but we think really better information is our best incentive to get them in the
I know that there's a lot of people taking advantage of the real estate market now, the residential real estate market. You see it on the news all the time, people coming in, and not only locals, but people from out of state, even out of the country. And the phrase they're used is taking advantage of our low real estate market. I would think that maybe there'd be the same kind of desire if the rents are lowered a little just to attract these new retailers. Maybe we'd be able to get more people interested. And I like the idea of the initiative and the marketing of our retail opportunities.
I think one of the trends, too, we're seeing is the valley-wide vacancy rate is going up pretty dramatically. And what that does is, from a rent perspective, it's the old supply and demand that you learn in your economics class. Vacancy goes up, rents are going to go down because there's more supply on the market. And so historically, we've had maybe a value proposition where our rents were lower than some of the more affluent submarkets in the region. That maybe competitive advantage from a pricing perspective is going away for the agency, so it's going to make our job maybe even more challenging in months to come.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman.
I just wanted to mention that, as you said, it's valley-wide now. And in the valley, they're lowering the rates tremendously. In the valley, they're giving free month rent. And so it's tough to be able to beat what some of them are giving right now. They're barely eking out any profit whatsoever. They're just trying to hang on. So if we did more, it'd be hard to do more than what they're doing in the rest of the valley. It's amazing right now.
This shows the retail rent in the region. The red is the actual rent for the region. Quarter 1, 2009, $1.92 rent. I believe that's a triple net rent, meaning that's the net cost of the tenant. For first quarter 2009, again, I apologize if it is not easy to see for the listening audience. There are gray bars to the left of the red bars. And for the RDA, it showed a rent of $1.19, so considerably less in the RDA than in the region, which from attracting tenants is a positive. Now, I think that gap between the higher rents, maybe in the suburbs, and the lower rents downtown is going to maybe start to narrow, as Councilwoman Tarkanian alluded to, with the retailers maybe in the suburban markets starting to drop rents. And that's going to be a challenge for our RDA moving forward. So that's a snapshot of the economy. I think we've had some good results recently, so I want to leave it on a positive note after maybe looking at some sobering commercial stats, but run through some of the projects. I'm going to go through them really quickly, but try to maybe stop on a couple of projects that we've had some key successes on of recent. So our accomplishment highlights, we still have $18 million in development in the pipeline, 125 projects completed. over 18,500 jobs created, and that, I believe it is in the last 4 years. The Lourevo Brain Center, partnering with the Cleveland Clinic, is near completion, and that's an exciting project. We got underway for the Smith Center for the Performing Arts with the start of construction, a $245 million project, which is an incredible accomplishment given the economy and the credit markets. Our Fifth Street School continues to perform well as an historic asset downtown. As you just approved, our tax increment financing note for World Market Center, Building 3 in the garage, notes that they've completed their building and it's up and running. The Foundation for Independent Tomorrow construction has been completed. Our VIP program continues to run very well with the leverage overall of $1 in RDA funds for $17 in private investment. And that's maybe one of the best programs we have is getting the most bang for the buck. Our taxpayer diversity improved.
Your Honor, can I
Yes.
stop him right there?
Councilman.
Go back to the dollar, to the VIP, public-private funds leverage. for a
Yes.
minute. No, that's not the one I want you to go back on. Finish, and then I'll stop,
Okay.
Your Honor.
The taxpayer diversity is important because it helps our credit to the extent that we're not relying on a single taxpayer or a large taxpayer. There's diversity in where the revenue is coming from. That helps our credit, and that improved for our last bond issue, and we continue to see good results there. And then the overall public to private investment ratio of $1 for every $15 of private investment is close to double the industry average that we've looked at other redevelopment agencies around the country, and this was noted in a report by the Applied Analysis Group that typically you look to see 1 to 7 to 1 to 10. So we continue to perform really well from an investment perspective.
And if I may, Your Honor?
Yes.
And that's what I wanted you to bring out. Every dollar we invest, we're getting $15 back, and it's important that the public and the residents of the city understand that. And that we have, I want to say, the most successful redevelopment agency in the country. Would you say that?
I don't think that's my determination to make, but I think
Well, I'm going to be a
I
little
think we've had a
biased
lot of
because
success.
I think we have a fabulous redevelopment agency, and we're doing leaps and bounds over other cities in this country.
I'll tell you, I just got back from the Conference of Mayors and was in the northeast part of the United States and meeting with a lot of mayors, and there was very little optimism that I saw, both as far as the communities that I visited up there, a lot of empty buildings, a lot of unemployment. Mayors were complaining bitterly as far as layoffs of firefighters, of police officers. There really wasn't much good news, and I was talking, of course, about the Brain Institute, Cleveland Clinic, and Performing Arts Center, and I think we were the envy of just about any city that was at that meeting. That's for darn sure. I really mean that. So you may not be far off, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman, for those kind comments. And Mr. Mayor, I skipped over the first item on the top right column, the Las Vegas Premium Outlet Mall. That expanded, it's completed, and despite the weakness in the retail market, as we touched on earlier, that continues to perform really well. One of the best performing assets in the Simon portfolio is the owner. And that's just, again, the snapshot since 2004. Some of the projects, some of them we've walked hand in hand with, have had incentive or participation agreements with. Some of them are just making investment because of the uptick in our public investment in the community. For instance, the Golden Nugget with their expansion. And so this is a snapshot showing projects completed since 2004 and then what's in the pipeline. And that's probably the big challenge for me as your acting director of business development, getting those pipeline projects to come to fruition despite the credit market, despite what's happening in the macroeconomy.
Yes, Governor.
I think you're right. I think for the next couple of years, you've got one of the hardest jobs in the city. We expect good. My microphone's on. I'm sorry. We expect good things from you, Bill.
Thank you, Councilman.
You are the interim.
Today I am, that's correct. Completed or under construction since 2004. Again, this shows the jobs. We're trying to focus as closely as we can on the job impact, given the economy and how important every job is important. We're going to fight for every job in the redevelopment area and in the city. We've rebranded our 61-acre crown jewel downtown as the Symphony Park, and just going to run through some of the projects in Symphony Park. World Market Center you heard about this morning, so I won't focus too much on. Huge impact with construction jobs, construction value, and permanent jobs. That shows the Phase 1 job total, and that was completed in 2007. Phase 3, the most recent completion, 2 million square feet, parking garage, 3,600 spaces, completed in June of last year. Project value of over $600 million. Again, a huge addition to our tax base in the redevelopment area. The permanent jobs is something we'll be updating on you next quarter, given some of the program changes for their overall business plan. We expect that job count to be going up, and we'll report on that next quarter. Premium Outlet Mall we touched on. Again, performing really well. Permanent jobs, over 200 permanent jobs. And a lot of these stores are new stores entering in the market, which is good for downtown, having new brands coming in downtown. And that shows that one of the importance of getting new private investment, those private dollars that we talked about with the leverage, is these private businesses do not only pay property tax, they pay other taxes as well. The sales and use tax, for instance, with a large retail project like the Outlet Mall, is incredibly important to our community, generates new sales tax annually, and that sales tax goes to the general community, all the taxing jurisdictions. It does not come back to the redevelopment agency. That's a benefit statewide for various services such as education and other services funded by sales tax. The Mulaski Corporate Center shows you the office and the retail split. Permanent jobs, a huge job base with the Water Authority still as the anchor business in the facility, and that continues to be a real asset for the downtown and our office market. Symphony Park, this shows a snapshot of the Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health, and as we noted earlier in previous discussions before this board, Cleveland Clinic is a really important component of what we're trying to do in Symphony Park. We think that's going to generate new office demand, new medical office demand. Our partner and project manager, Newland Communities, is actually attending BOMA office conference in Philadelphia, and we're going to be pretty aggressive in trying to recruit new office into the market, into Symphony Park, and we really think that's a win-win. We got a great partner in the Cleveland Clinic and Lou Ruvo and his team, and there's also a demand for medical office in the market. So this is one of those niche areas where we think we can compete, and compete very well. The Smith Center for the Performing Arts, it shows the construction jobs, permanent jobs, and the project value. It's a huge undertaking for the listening audience as well as those in attendance today. I encourage you to drive by the site, see the activity on the site. It's one of the largest construction projects we have going in the entire Las Vegas Valley right now. And at peak employment, it's going to employ 1,000 jobs. And we're really excited about the project, and we're going to be working closely to make sure that the project completes on time and on budget as well. World Jewelry Center, we're going to be talking a little bit more about this project in the months to come. We're working on an amendment to adjust our development scope as well as timeline with the project developer, Robert Zarnigan from Probity International. When it was originally contemplated, a huge project, over 875,000 square feet of office. You see the project value right there. We're in different economic times, and we really need to take a close look at working with the developer and what makes sense and what is in the best interest of not only the developer but the redevelopment agency and the city as well. So we'll be coming back to you with an amendment in the weeks to come. Charlie Palmer is partnering with City Core Development out of San Francisco. They are still committed development partner in Symphony Park. You see the construction jobs there, large construction job. I think that includes not only the hotel itself, but the large amount of retail that he envisions for the project, and a really large project value of over $200 million. And so we'll be working with the project, their timing, their start and finish, to the finish of the Performing Arts Center. We do have a development parcel in Symphony Park that's still available. It's Parcel B, which is, if you look at the road that runs down the center of Symphony Park, Discovery Drive, it's the first parcel on the top left-hand side of that road, Parcel B. It's one of the largest parcels in Symphony Park, and we're actively recruiting developers to develop that project. Parcel F, Newland Residential, Townhouses and Mid-Rises. We actually have an agenda item before you on the City Council portion of the agenda to talk about a new schedule, but the exciting aspect of this project is that we have a large residential developer that's still committed to building residential in downtown Las Vegas. And we think that's incredibly important to keep the momentum going. This project, when it's up and running, would have a project value of $92 million and over 400 construction jobs. Live Work Las Vegas, a partnership with Live Work LLC and Forest City Enterprises out of Cleveland. We're still working very diligently in trying to get this project to come to fruition. It's a very aggressive project. You can see in the aerial picture here all the buildings that are in the light blue represent the new development. The scope is still looking at a 1,000-room hotel with a 65,000 square foot casino, 250,000 square feet of retail, and then also in the office part of the project near Main and Bonneville, looking at a total build-out with office of 1 million square feet and retail 300,000 feet, including the retail in the office campus, as well as the 42,000 feet of retail in the gaming project. Construction jobs, over 2,100 construction jobs, and permanent jobs based on square footage of the project, potentially up to 6,000 jobs. So we're still pursuing this project very aggressively, and we're going to be taking some agreements to you in the weeks to follow at the council meeting. Residential, I'm going to just run through these really quickly. Allure, that's still completed, and they're working on still actively selling units. Newport Lofts, completed also, actively selling units. Soho Lofts, completed, and selling units, and you see the job total and the value there. And then Streamline Tower, also completed. And this is really important that we got 4 large residential mixed-use projects completed before the economy changed so dramatically and the credit markets tightened. And long-term, these units will be on the market, and we really think that a lot of not only visitors will own these units, but workers in the downtown will own these units as well. Urban Lofts, they're still working on finishing their second project in Fremont Street in Bruce, and you see the jobs there and the project value. We expect a lot more of these projects in the months to come, more of the mid-rise variety that have a lower threshold of getting financed. Jewel City Mark, you see the project there. It was a project of the agency not only from being within the redevelopment area, but we participated on the land agreement, and they're still working on sales. They've had 18 move-ins as of June 9th, which we think is pretty incredible given this market, that there are buyers who still believe in the vision for downtown. We're going to be continuing to work very closely with City Mark to make that project a success. Entertainment, we're still working on 601 Fremont. We own that building. We're trying to make sure we find the right tenant at the right time, and we're working with a developer that's going to open a club in that building, and we're going to be working real diligently to get it open, up and running. Venue of Vegas, this is a new entertainment business that looking at a construction start sometime in mid-late 2009. They've had a struggle trying to find reasonable financing for their improvements. It's one of the larger venues that's proposed for the entertainment district, and we're still optimistic that it's going to happen and move into the district. Neonopolis, Mr. Mayor, you attended the grand opening of Telemundo, which is one of the tenants in the space.
What's in my hand? All right, keep going, please. I think it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We'll leave that to the listening audience to decide. But Telemundo was an evening event that took place on May 20th, 2009, and was an indication of what the market is for entertainment downtown. That this is a corporate business owned by GE that saw the vision in downtown, wanted to be a part of downtown. Just run through some last projects in some of our neighborhood corridors. We're still working on a sustainability center, but maybe more importantly, the Las Vegas Business Center, which has, for the past few years, housed the Evolve program. We're looking to reprogram that to its original use of a business incubator to try to grow businesses from within the community, give them low rent office, all the support, business support they need to get a new business, a startup, or a young business up and running and successful. A lot of economic development programs around the country have programs like this. It's tough work, but it's important work, and we want to move forward with that for the community. Enterprise Park, we still have 2 sites in the park that we're working on developing new projects. Alpha Omega, we're going to be taking an item to the council on July 1st to amend the development agreement, and going to go over the new schedule as well as the timing of how the commercial and the residential is going to be built out. And we're really optimistic that it's going to be successful because we have Mariana's, who's committed to move forward and build a grocery store at that site. Gaming, just touch on real quickly. We had a grand opening. Cabana Suites is a wonderful project, a wonderful investment from a great private partner, the El Cortez. That opens on May 8th. 74 construction jobs and a project value of $1.2 million. And again, this was all private investment, no public investment for the project. Golden Nugget, as I mentioned, continues on their Hotel Tower edition. 600 new rooms. You see the equivalent of 600 new jobs, which is a conservative estimate, and they're continuing to move forward with this expansion. They've also expanded and enhanced the casino through earlier construction. Gold Spike has been a great partner, putting a lot of money into the property just across the street from our City Hall and our Stewart Avenue garage. They're estimated their completion of their facade by the summer of 2009. CIM, Lady Luck Post Office. This is maybe one of our best successes of recent. I attended on behalf of the Office of Business Development the Nevada Commission on Tourism yesterday, and the tourism voted unanimously to approve moving forward with a sales tax incentive known as a tourism improvement district, or also known as STAR bonds. And so that's the last public hearing that we have for getting approval. It moves on to the governor, and then after the governor, we'll be taking the item back to you for a 2-step ordinance adoption to actually adopt the district. It's incredibly important. The developer CIM group, despite the economy, despite the gaming market, continues to remain committed to the project, and that's really the name of the game right now. Keep our private development partners committed to developing and investing long-term in downtown. And you see the impact, construction jobs, and then permanent jobs with both the Lady Luck property as well as the new development surrounding the historic post office, and also moving forward with the Mom Museum. Some other projects, we still are looking to develop long-term the City Hall and what we've called the annex site, the 12 acres on the east side of the boulevard. We're drafting an E&A with a major national developer. We're working to move that forward and take it forward to you soon. This is incredibly important. We need to keep generating new taxes to help support some of our large-scale projects in downtown.
Mayor Goodman, please.
Yes.
Would you please repeat what you just said? Did you say that there's an E&A coming on this?
We're working on an E&A to take forward with this major national
People at
developer.
home don't know what an E&A is.
I apologize, Councilman. Generally, when we're negotiating incentives, given the complexity of these projects, rather than doing it all in one shot with one agreement before the council, it's generally a 2-step process. We have land that we're selling to a developer. We'll first enter into an exclusive negotiation agreement, which kind of sets the table, the parameters for the negotiation. They're large projects, they're complex projects. Usually it's not just a financial incentive. There could be land use, concerns or issues to deal with, financing, development, and it really gives us the time we need to work through thoroughly the project to make sure that when we get to the final approval, we have everything we need to move forward. And that final agreement, that disposition and development agreement, is the agreement which really is the umbrella agreement for everything associated with the project. So it's very common that we do that with some of our large projects. Cashman Center, we're still working with the LVCVA for mixed-use projects, and we went through an RFP and we didn't get any real viable projects in the short run, so we're going to be working really closely with the LVCVA to see if we can do some mixed-use projects in the future on the Cashman Center site, currently home to the 51s as well as the Cashman Convention Center. TELUS, they opened in March 2009. You see the potential permanent jobs on full build-out, construction jobs. The building was pretty much in a ready-to-go state. They just had some sprucing up to do with the building, was why the construction jobs is so low. 104,000 square feet, and that's occupied by this call center company out of Canada by the name of TELUS, and we're working to finalize our incentive agreement for some of the back-end incentives that we're giving to the project. The Campos office building, if office workers downtown see a building going up on Bonanza Road, they can know that it's being built by the state, 200 construction jobs, 150 permanent jobs, has a good project value, but because it's publicly owned, doesn't contribute to our tax base. The RTC Transit Terminal and the Live Work Project, as well as the Bus Rapid Transit, that's an important component of transportation downtown. Eldorado was a great event. We made some land available for the 75th Eldorado Days Rodeo, held May 14th to May 17th. It was an incredible success, and I really thank the mayor and the entire council for supporting the event. The agency's participation is we really made available our land and a small amount of dollars, which really went a long way given the success of the event. And with that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much for a very complete report. Any questions or comments?
Mayor Goodman, please, real quick, three things. Bill, I noticed that it was the Restrepo group that produced a lot of the slides in the beginning of your report. Are there backup materials to support the conclusive slides?
Yes, we can make that available. We're under contract with Restrepo, and I believe he has a partnership with Colliers International, which is really getting some of the market data and the real-time data.
If I could get a copy of whatever you have, I'd appreciate it. Secondly, you referred to applied analysis doing the report for the public-private ratio of the 1 to 15. Is that report available?
Yes, it is. We have copies, paper copies in our office. It's also available on our website.
And then finally, do you have a copy of your PowerPoint that you presented today to give to all the council people?
I can make it available.
Thank you.
Right. Any other comments or questions, Councilwoman?
Well, I did have some, but he covered them all. And I hope we can get hard copies of these so that we can follow through because, as Councilman Wolfson said, we can talk about these things, we know about them, but the public needs to have the information given in a way that they also can understand if they haven't been with the project as we have been. And I think with what you give to us, we can take that back into our own, yes, and then help others understand. So it's really important that we have that. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments or questions? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, John, move to accept the report as given.
All right. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Arndt. Okay. Item number 8 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Redevelopment Agency. No subject may be acted upon by the Redevelopment Agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come up, give us your name. We'll put the 3-minute timer on because we have a full morning. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Doug DeMacy, lifetime resident, City of Las Vegas. I'm curious on the money that we rebated on the TIF. That seems like a great incentive for the developer. In the future, as we collect the property tax, do we rebate it back again, or
against the note? That's correct. And
So
what the developer has to do, they can't take that money that we're rebating to them and put it in their pocket and walk away. They have to put it back into the infrastructure. So it's really a win-win for the community.
Right. So in the future, though, it continues to go on.
Yes.
Similar.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll go on to item number 9, which is agency member recognition. Comments made by individual agency members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the City Council unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. The first thing I'd like to do is welcome back to the City Hall chambers our former city manager, Doug Selby. Doug is here. It's a busman's holiday, I guess. And I think this is the time to show our appreciation, our thanks for the contribution which was made by David Steinman, Councilman David Steinman, who accepted on an interim basis the responsibility to represent the folks in Ward 4. And it's really very heartwarming when you see somebody take an assignment like that with the understanding they're not going to run for office, but rather will act as a caretaker and jump in with both feet. And that's what Councilman Steinman did. He came into City Hall, he studied, he was prepared, he worked hard, he went out into the community and visited with our employees and with his constituents, and he's a gentleman who will be missed, and somebody whose friendship all of us on this council have enjoyed, and that's going to continue for sure, my good friend. And at this point in time, I just wanted to publicly thank you for all of your service to the City of Las Vegas. Yesterday, I was not present. I was out of town, as I said, on the Conference of Mayors, but yesterday, apparently, you were given a very nice send-off by the City Hall employees, and they appreciated the fact that you treated each and every one of them very decently, with great respect, and we can't thank you enough for your service. Okay, but any of the other...
Can I say something?
Yes.
My wife told me last night after the party, she said, and she was very proud of what happened last night, but she said, very few people in this world get the opportunity to serve the city of Las Vegas like you did. It's a treat. And let me tell you, it was a treat. And the biggest treat of the whole deal is working with these 6 people and this staff we have. They are incredible in the city, and you as residents need to know we are well prepared to take care of things. We have wonderful people here. And I thank you all for helping me out and getting me through this. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for your kind comments. I appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard? All right. Seeing none, the Redevelopment Agency is adjourned. We'll start the City Council meeting. Let's give us about 7 to 10 minutes before we start to allow the clerk to change proceedings. Yes. Yeah.